I'm not sure how many people know this about me, but I am a huge Ronnie James Dio fan. The fact of the matter is, the way that this man was able to kind of revolutionize the way that metal vocals worked, and to be able to sing for as long as he did, right through to the end of his career and the end of his life, unfortunately, he did it in such an incredible, incredible way, and I absolutely adore his voice. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I've actually not really listened to him live often. I've listened to a couple of bits and pieces here and there, but this particular performance from 1993, Jesus, I was a year old at this point, is one that I have not seen. I have not seen this version of Holy Diver being performed, and I am really keen to see kind of the differences between the recording that I know very much like the back of my hand at this point, and how he approaches this one live. So that's the point of today. We're going to have a look at this, we're going to pull it apart, we're going to have a look and see just how crazy this guy's voice is live, because the fact of the matter is, the stuff that I have heard him do live has been phenomenal. So I know that it's brilliant, I know he's been able to do it. But before we begin, please do leave a like on the video, it really does help. If you have not subscribed, I would highly appreciate it if you did so. And there's more ways to help at the end if you like what we do on the channel. So without any further ado, let's have a look at Holy Diver Live by Dio. Original key? Hang on. Not quite. Okay, I think it's like a tone maybe lower than the original key. Ooh, yeah. Nearly at the original key. It's close. It's very close.
Holy diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, speak coming over.
Okay.
Ride the tiger, you can see his stripes, but you know he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away. Holy diver, yeah.
Okay. Interesting point here that that I feel needs to be made. Good lord, the color in this room is just kind of gone. What the heck? Alright, so what I'm hearing here, based upon my knowledge of the song, I'm pretty sure it's about a tone lower than the original. I could be wrong on that, but it's not quite at the original key. Something that I say a lot in my videos is that there is beauty in restraint of the voice. Something that I say quite a lot on this channel is that in a lot of cases, it's very much the job of the vocalist to make what they do seem effortless. And interestingly enough, this is absolutely a masterclass in that. He is making it seem effortless what he is doing. It's not, by any stretch of the imagination. He is very much a pinnacle at this point. I'm going to go back a little bit here, and I'll show you what I mean. No pun intended. Where he puts his whole body into it. It's not just, I say this all the time, it's not just what's happening here. Singing is a full body experience. And it's important to understand just how much goes into the vocal. Like, have a look here.
Ride the tiger.
Because he's very flowy, right? But as soon as he starts singing, the torso stops. It is like you couldn't push him over at that point, I don't think, if you wanted to. Let's have a look at this again.
Holy diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea.
Like a little bit of movement, but mostly in the legs, not in the torso.
Ride the tiger, you can see his stripes, but you know he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away. Holy diver, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so something interesting here too, and I've said this a couple of times about a lot of vocalists that kind of try to sing along the same vein of music, and actually you do find some people, I'll say guilty of this. Guilty is not the word. Guilty insinuates that something is bad, but a lot of people do this in the classical realm as well. I focus and I talk a lot about the Latin vowel sounds that we focus on when we sing. So rather than A, E, I, O, and U, which are our vowel sounds in English, we always fall into, and I'm pretty sure this is a worldwide thing, falling into Latin vowels, which is A, E, O, and U. And what tends to happen is, as a vocalist, we need to focus on those vowel sounds. Consonants are the enemy. Every letter, every single letter around those vowels are a pain in the neck. And the reason that I say this, if you, and I've used this example before on the channel for those who have seen it, if you try to sing a note on an S sound or a T sound, like T and S, you can't. You actively cannot do it. Same with a D and a P, and a B as well. You can't sing on those notes, on those sounds. And a few people would probably be going, yes, you can. Z. That's a Z. It's not an S. I did the same thing. My singing teacher pulled me up on that as well. What tends to happen a lot of the time, what a lot of people will do, and it's something that Dio is doing here, is almost removing the consonants entirely around the word, and in an attempt to focus specifically where he needs to be holding the note. Now, the reason that I say guilty of doing this, and like looping back to when I said that guilty of doing this, is a lot of people that tend to do this remove the vowels entirely to the point, not the vowels, the consonants entirely to the point where it almost just sounds like vowel sounds. And it's almost like if you were singing, if like the line Holy Diver, right? Holy Diver! You've got the consonants there, but it's almost like Holy Diver! Some singers do that. He's not doing that. That's a very extreme circumstance. But a lot of people do fall into that in order to get the notes out. Sometimes I absolutely can't blame them. But he is a really good example here of doing that, but still making it completely clear what you were singing. It's really, really nicely done.
Got shiny diamonds, like the eyes of a cat in the black and blue. Something is coming for you. Look out! Race for the morning.
Interesting.
Hide in the sun till you see the light.
Sorry, I need to go back here for a second.
Something is coming for you.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, the way that he throws that and adds the gruff. It's something that I can't do. I can't replicate that gruff that he does there. And it's such an interesting thing. I mentioned this with Tommy Johansson's voice a lot as well. In the kind of metal and rock space when it comes to vocal, the two of these guys, Dio and Tommy, have this very interesting similarity. And that similarity is the way that they approach their notes. So basically, what we have here is a very open tone. Like, the way that Dio gets into that, "He's coming for you," like that kind of back of the mouth there is really open. It's very cavernous and very much like, almost like classical resonance. Like, I'll go back and I'll show you an example here.
Diamonds, like
The eyes of a cat in the black and blue.
something is coming for you.
Something is coming for you. Like, even when he is just throwing notes out there, it's like that soft palate is like yanked up so that you've got that shiny diamonds like the eyes of a cat in the black and blue. Something is coming for you. Whereas a lot of rock vocalists would taper that off like shiny diamonds like the eyes of a cat in the black and blue. Something is coming for you. So it's got that like tapered off sort of harsher sound. Again, the reason that I point this out, Dio and Tommy are two of the very few people that tend to have that more open sound and really make it work for the songs that they do. It's really interesting to hear it.
Look out!
Look out! Even there.
You can hide in the sun till you see the light. Oh, we will pray it's alright. Gonna get away. Get away. Between the velvet lies. There's a truth that's hard as steel. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll say that there's a never die. That's a never-ending will say.
Interesting. Another thing, I talk a lot about getting into what's called a mixed voice. It is a part of the voice in between head voice and chest voice. Dio was one of the people that kind of pioneered it, along with people like Steve Perry around the same time. Stevie Wonder is another person that uses it in a very interesting way. And it's interesting to hear Dio in this key here, because I'm wondering, because it is slightly lower, I'm wondering if it actually is hindering him getting into that part of the voice. That's interesting. If there is anybody that knew Dio in his life that knows the answer to that question, I would love to have that conversation with them, because it is very much a case of, like, it could be a case of this was near the end of the show and they put it down because Dio's voice may be exhausted by the end of it, because let's face it, the stuff that he was doing was crazy. Like songs like Rainbow in the Dark and that sort of thing. Oh my god, like the vocal stamina you need to do those songs once is hard, let alone is insane, let alone a whole concert of that style of music. Steve Perry's in the same boat. Very different styles of music, using the same techniques though, and it still takes a lot of stamina to maintain that that area of the voice for such a long period of time. But I'm wondering if here... That note there sounded to me like he was at the top of chest rather than in that head voice. Life's a never-ending will say. Like that's the mid voice there. Life's a never-ending will. I can't even get there in chest, to be honest. I can't even get there in chest. So I wonder if that hindered him there, because it doesn't sound like, it still sounds good. Don't get me wrong. I'm wondering if that was because it doesn't sound as good as he has done it in even in other live performances that I've heard. So I wonder if that's why. Well, yeah, okay, so it's about a tone. I just went to the actual recording of it to hear where it is. So it's about a tone. But yeah, I wonder if that hindered him there. I don't know. Interesting thought.
Holy diver, you're the star of the masquerade. No need to look so afraid. Just that tiger. You see he's hot, but you know he's mean. Something like you'll never be seen.
Same there. I wonder. Dio always had great musicians with him, didn't he? Like, oh my god. Amazing. It's a great solo. Okay, before we get into the next section here, I love musicians from this era, because they're just unapologetically them, but also they're good enough and they're aware enough to go, okay, this is where this particular instrument needs to shine. This is my solo. This is my area to show off. Once that vocal comes back in, this is in fact a Dio show. Dio is the main attraction here. We pull it back, and that is something that I absolutely adore from musicians of that era. They seem to all have that very similar outlook, and I highly respect it. There was a stage, basically it is very much the difference between an amateur band and a professional band. Don't know why I said that so weird, but as a little bit of a story, right? So I played in bands when I was in my teens and early 20s. And something that was really interesting to me is that a lot of bands around that stage, even for people that had been playing for years and years and years, could not grasp the fact that, hey, if somebody has a solo here, don't overshadow them. Like when the vocals are super important in this song, for instance. So like, why is the guitarist trying to take attention? There were a lot of bands doing that when we were kind of when we were performing. I wonder if I go back to those venues, if I went back and watched a show at those venues, I wonder if the same thing would be going on. Maybe I need to start managing bands. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I love it. I think it's incredible that, these musicians have this mentality here of, okay, this is my moment to shine. Let's go. And boy, do they not hold back. It's so good. It's so refreshing.
You've been down too long in the midnight sea. What's becoming of me?
Interesting. Actually, I want to hear that line again.
You've been down too long in the midnight sea. What's becoming of me?
Okay, interesting, because he got into that mixed voice for the word me there. Coming of me. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. It's such a subtle tonality change with the and the likes of Steve Perry and Stevie Wonder. I need to look at some Stevie stuff, actually. I think that might be what I have a look at next. And it's such a subtle change between that chest and mixed voice from these guys that are absolutely clearly professionals and know their voices so well that they can get into that spot. It's just so wonderful to hear it. It's just so good.
You see his stripes, but you know he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta
That's
get
a
away.
22. I'll bring that up at the end.
I get away. Gotta get away. Get away. Yeah. A holy diver. Soul survivor. You are the one who's clean.
Okay, brilliant.
Holy diver. Holy diver. There's a cat in the blue coming after you. Holy diver. Holy diver. Yeah. Whoa. All right. Get away. Get away. Get away.
Oh, I love that sound.
Holy diver. Holy diver.
Oh, maybe. Interesting. Oh, it cuts there? Serious? Oh, that's upsetting. But you see what I mean. No pun intended. I'm so upset with myself. Okay, so final thoughts. What I kind of wanted to view in this, and it's definitely brought out. It always brings up questions for me, because when I do these videos, I don't go into them intending to be like, I am the absolute be all and end all of information on these videos. It is a case of like here's what I do know, and here's what I don't know, and here's the stuff that I would really like to know as well. Because there have been times where I've like put out a question about the way that somebody does things, and somebody's literally answered it, and that I really appreciate from you guys. And I can tell that a lot of people that watch my videos do have at least a little bit of knowledge. And for those who don't, and those who, for those people that don't have that knowledge and watch my videos and really do like to learn things and kind of listen to what I'm saying and give these sorts of almost lectures, really, thank you. Like, I've got a lot of comments, especially recently, of people saying, you know, oh, the way you broke this up, I really understand this part now. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Because I'm thinking of changing up how I start doing some of these reactions, but we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of testing it behind the scenes at the moment. Something that is an interesting point to me, right, is Dio is so good, was so good with staccato sound. Like, so what, for those who don't know, staccato is when you hold a note for a very small amount of time. You almost break off the note almost as soon as it kind of comes out. Whereas you've got legato, which is more like how I've often said, it's like a paint stroke, like one long paintbrush stroke, and you kind of tie them in together. So basically, as an example, if I was to do Holy Diver legato, which would sound really weird, but I'll demonstrate it. Holy Diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. What's becoming of me? That's like a legato sound, but the way he does it is staccato. Holy Diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what's becoming of me? And I'm more of a legato singer, I won't lie. That's just kind of where my strengths lie. Dio is really, really, really into that staccato. And how I've mentioned before, that kind of similarity between him and Tommy Johansson's voice, how it's that open, cavernous, almost operatic thing at the back of the throat, at the back of the mouth here, with the soft palate being kind of like yanked up to the point of like near exhaustion, right? When people are singing like that and they've got that more full open tone, they tend to be legato singers. So it's interesting to me that he breaks the mold in so many different ways. And Tommy's a little bit the same too. Although, having said this, I would say that Tommy is a little bit more of a legato singer than staccato. I love the way he does his legato stuff, but he has no issues doing staccato. Dio breaks that mold of that kind of classical mentality, that technique, whilst sounding rocky, like sounding along that kind of rock vocal line. And this is why I go back to Dio and listen to Dio so much and whatnot, because there's always something to learn. There's always something to listen to and go, how did he do that? And then the more you kind of experiment with it, you go, oh, interesting. And it's a large part of kind of saying, all right, you want to sound like this person who's a modern singer? Cool. Let's go and take that back. Very much like what my singing teacher did with me after I'd come out of classical. He went, okay, you want to learn, in my case, it was like James LaBrie from Dream Theater. You want to learn that stuff? Cool. So what we've got to do is we've got to find his inspirations and go back to the beginning. Hence my absolute obsession from that point on with Steve Perry, Dio, and Stevie Wonder as well. Also, another one that I keep forgetting to mention in that is Don Henley of the Eagles, because he does the same thing. And I can go more into that in a video some other time. Another question I have with how he uses his voice, because I did mention that there was that one note that wasn't as confident as the rest that I pointed out, and I thought maybe it was because he wasn't, like, the key of the song was too far down and he wasn't able to get into that spot. But then, sorry, I kind of lost my brain there for a second, but later on in the song he does manage to do that. He does manage to go into that spot with relative ease. But the interesting thing is, when he did that, he had that gruff tone on. So if I go back here, I'm going to play like the end here, because these notes are all up there where the where that issue kind of, I say issue, it wasn't an issue, but it's the easiest word for me here, where that quote unquote issue note was. These are all the same note or higher. but he's got this gruff sound on. That note there. Diver! But he actively has that gruff vocal fry type thing going. I wonder if later, I don't really want to say later in life, because 1992 wasn't really late in his life, really, was it? So when did he pass? It was 2010? Okay, so I've just done a little bit of the research here. So 1957 was when he started singing with the Vegas Kings, was it? And then transitioned to heavy metal in 1970, right? So this is then 22 years after. So hang on, math here. Let's do some math work. So 1957 professionally singing in rock and roll. I would love to hear some of those recordings. And then the 70s, so we got 13 years later, is when he got into heavy metal. And then this is 22 years after. So that's 35 years after he started singing was this concert. 35 years. And that's only assuming that that year that he started singing with the Vegas Kings was the first year he started singing, right? Because he would have been singing prior to that. Like, no band would have you if you just started singing for the band, right? Like, there are some groups, like, what I'm trying to say is there are some groups that the singers only start singing for that group, right? Actually, one of the gentlemen in Forestella as well. Never mind, I rescind what I said. So, assuming 35 years, I could probably say that later on in life works. Because at this particular point in time, he was 45? I'm not sure. I'm wondering now how his technique developed from what he was doing with rock and roll. Interesting. But I wonder if that's how he kind of got into that kind of mixed vocal there, was using that gruff effect, and that's how he was able to do it. I don't know. Anyway, let me know if you guys like this kind of format. It's in the middle of doing this video that I thought that I will change this up and do like a Griever Lectures video, and kind of lecture on what's happening here. I think that might be an idea. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought. I just to be clear, I think it's an absolutely brilliant performance. Absolutely brilliant. I'm just looking at this one entirely objectively for my own growth, essentially. But anyway, that's it for today. Like a favorite if you enjoyed, subscribe to all that sort of thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, feel free to go over to Patreon and support us for as little as $3 Australian per month. By doing so, you'll join the list of wonderful people here. Also, if you're into gaming, I have recently rebooted my gaming channel, so feel free to go over there and have a look. Link to both the Patreon and the gaming channel in the description below.